be talking about, or in this video, because I'm doing a lot of them today, how you can share in the buyer's agent's commission, in the buyer agent commission. Now, first of all, that's assuming that it's on the MLS. Secondly, the typical commission usually offered on an MLS, although it doesn't have to be, especially now that brokerages are being sued by plaintiffs' class action lawyers, and some other people are changing their models, including me. But let's say there's usually 2.5% to 3% of the listing price being offered to buyers agents commission. So buyers agents bring their buyers to see the house and maybe make offers. This is a legacy back then, before there was a lot of information in the market, when buyers agents controlled the buyers because they came to their website, they got it, they captured their lead, now they're working with them. Now, and they sort of felt like they needed buyers agents for pricing information. Now, the buyers are on social media. You can capture them with the easiest way. The biggest lead magnet is a house for sale or an open house this weekend. More information about the house this weekend. You can capture them off of Zillow, because Zillow's got a ton of the traffic. It's at least 25-30% of the traffic. Realtor.com's got the same amount. There's very little traffic going to buyers agents these days. So they're not controlling it anymore. So working with a buyer's agent becomes really about whether it's right for you, whether you would want to sacrifice the chance to have some or all of that commission, the chance to use that commission to incentivize your purchase, the listing agent with the purchase of your home, in exchange for the information a buyer's agent can bring to the table, or the little bit of work in terms of the dealing with the paperwork, which is a few hours of work, which a transaction coordinator can do, which I could do in my law office. I could have my transaction coordinators do it. In some cases, there's software now that's so good. I used to not want to do it myself because it was 20 hours of paperwork back and forth. But now you can have all the signatures on paper in one place. And instead of having to redo it every time you had to send it out and bring in the new one, you can just say, oh, by the way, you missed one. Can you just hit that there? And it updates, and it's sitting right there for everyone to see. So the transaction coordination, the paperwork part of it has been cut, in my mind, by technology by a massive degree. I want to do it now myself so I can work on it, see it, answer the questions when I'm working with a buyer. I used to send it out to a transaction coordinator. That's what technology is doing. Not just for my job as a real estate attorney and an agent, but really it's replaced the need for buyer's agents, right? So now, so how do you get their buyer's commission? So let me just tell you a little story. This was now, I was a real estate attorney. I was aware that the Reagan tax cuts had come out in the 80s and that you could keep up to $500,000, which was a ton of money. This is before internet stocks went. Now, this was after internet stocks went crazy. That's why I made so much money. But it was just so much money. I made like $500,000 in 2.5, 3 years. And I was like, this is never, and it was tax free, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, Karina, we've got one, maybe we had 2 kids. I was like, we could go to Florida with $500,000 to invest, and we're not going to have to pay taxes on it. We got to give this a shot. Because I had been a professional. I had made a lot of money trading in the stock market. I was like, now I've got even more money because I put some of that money in the down payment. I can bring that money back. We could be investors. Live great. We went to Florida. We got hammered. I had 4 houses. They all went down. I had plantar fasciitis. I think I had an ulcer. I was getting destroyed. I was like, and there was no anti-deficiency statutes in Florida. So I was losing my money. I was like, we could go negative on this whole thing. Not only the money, the equity, we were up over $1 million. Not only the equity, but we left. I had to pay money to leave, so I could leave with a clean mind and not worry about getting sued. Came back here and I helped people doing short sales, made a lot of money again, bought a house, did better for a while. Okay, so anyway, but I don't even know why I got on that tangent, but other than the fact that, yes, wow, how? Let me change that. How to share in the buyer. So this is about how to share in the buyer's agent commission. So we had a previous video, I think it was the first video in the series, on how to locate who the listing agent was on Zillow, and the same thing goes with Realtor.com. Really, anybody on most websites, go to the listing agent, ask the questions, because you shouldn't even be working with a buyer's agent until you know that the buyer's agent is going to help you, as opposed to, if it's a multiple offer situation, you should go to the listing agent. So let's say you've asked the questions we've discussed in previous videos in this series, and you've determined there's an opportunity to negotiate, and it usually would go hand in hand, either price or the buyer's agent's commissions. And I'm going to tell you either after this or in a future video, if you'd one of my businesses is to help people buy directly from the listing agent. So I can do that. I have flat fees. I can work on percentage fees. I can even share the referrals with you. I will talk about that in other videos. But where to start would be go to winnerscheck.com. This should be /buyer. Let's do that again. Okay, so you get the rest of this series, and there you would also eventually see an opportunity to work with me to help you do this if you don't want to do it on your own. But I'm going to tell you what we would do. We would call the listing agents on behalf of you, or we would give you the scripts you need to ask the questions to do it yourself, in which case I would take a smaller referral fee or a smaller payment for my services. And you would determine if you have some price flexibility, if the listing has some price flexibility, or if you have price flexibility and you could work with a buyer's agent to purchase that property. If there's room to work with a buyer's agent to purchase that property, it might be hard for you, but you could ask, what sort of commission are you offering on the MLS to buyer's agents? Because maybe, although I'm working with a buyer's agent, he's cool. You could explain the situation of working with me, or she's cool if you're working with a cool woman agent. And you could say they're cool, and I have an opportunity to say share some of that fee with you. And I'm wondering, is there price flexibility? Would you be working with me and show me and be willing to show me the property and work with me in exchange for some or all the buyer's agent fees? So you can feel if there's some price negotiation that can help you buy the home. If you don't need to work with them, and you just say, hey, I talked to my agent and I'd like to see the property. I know you don't have any open houses coming up, but if I had my agent agree to work with you, could you, if we buy the property, could I, give you a $500, $1,000 sort of referral fee for showing me the property? Or maybe they're cool. They understand that they're supposed to sell the home and say, is there a time this weekend, anytime in the next few days, where you're going to be near the property where you could show it to me? They should say yes. I think ethically before I wasn't so big on the ethics about why it's okay to represent buyers, but in this case, I think they should say yes, even if you tell them, by the way, I'm already working with somebody else. And then you'd want to confirm, and I'd share this with you in the course, or you could just say, by the way, I would say, look, thank you for agreeing to show me the property, and that you agree, yes, I'm still working with a different agent, so that, this wouldn't create a procuring cause situation. You're fine with that. I thank you so much for showing me the property. Hopefully, I'll buy it. By the way, I'm a motivated buyer for these following reasons. Whatever. You want to make them feel good about their decision. Always. It's part of the sales process, right? If people are helping you out, make them feel good about it. So, now, here's the deal. You've now set up the scenario so that you are controlling procuring cause. Procuring cause, when an agent feels like they have procuring cause, they no longer feel like they have to share the commission. Oh, that's where it went. So I went to Florida and we want to buy a home for myself, my family in Naples. I called the guy up and said, will you share the buyer's agent with me? I've recently taken I'm an attorney in California. I've recently taken the brokerage exam. I don't have the results yet. I'd like to buy a home, but it's like I'm a broker. Could you pretend I've got this referral fee? He said no. Listing agents, if they think they've got you, they're not going to want to share the referral fee. So that's why it's good to invoke the idea that you're working with a buyer's agent already. They understand. They don't mind me calling you. And for your time, they're willing to share some of the fee. That's after you've already asked those other questions, or you've had your agent ask those other questions to see if they should be going to the listing agent directly and surrendering some of that fee to buy the home. So in short, let me just play this back. One, you got to qualify the property, find out if there's competition. If there is, you may decide to surrender some or all of the buyer's agent fee. Two, there may be a desire to see the property that you'd like to not have to pay for, but you want to reserve the right to do that. Three, you should be working with a buyer's agent who understands that since you're doing a lot of the work, they're going to give up, say, half the buyer's agent fee. So that's 1.5% typically, maybe 1.25% of the final selling price, and you get the buyer's agent to do that work for you. Or, if you're willing to do a little bit more work, you go directly to the listing agent and say, look, I'm looking to capture some or all of the buyer's agent's fee. I'm working with a buyer's agent who's willing to share with me some of the referral fees, so there's not going to be a problem with the license. But would you be interested in working with me as the buyer's agent in exchange for, say, if it's 2.5%, whatever it is. Wow, I just realized I bent my glasses when they fell off earlier. Okay, so you might want to go to the listing agent directly. There's more commission on the table usually if you're working with a negotiation, but not always. So that's a conversation you want to open up. Otherwise, you can work with a buyer's agent directly or an entrepreneurial agent who can help you share as much of that buyer's commission as possible. So I'm going to have more videos on this in the future. If you think you would like to work with me on this, we can set up a strategy session where I will help you. I will, depending on your goals, if you just want me straight out to be calling the listing agents, asking these questions, finding out, coming back and saying, no, you need to go with them directly, or I can help you, or you can go with them directly and I will review the contracts with you and review the disclosures with you, but they're going to be your agent. Or if I can help you, well, there's lots of ways I can help you. We can refer you out to a buyer's agent if buyer's agent's opportunity is there. We can go to the listing agents directly and share some of that fee. If you would like to work with me, we can set up a strategy session right now. I don't have it set up that way right now on winnerscheck.com, but probably by the time you see this video, I'll have a little link under there, even though you might see something about solar homes, because I got to change the whole page. But it says set up free strategy session. Click that link, set up the strategy session. There'll be a little questionnaire. You can explain your goal, and we can get started really right away, unless it's a Sunday. Now, I don't know. I don't think there's any point in calling me directly because I sort of need to be in the mindset to ask these questions and have that sheet filled out. If you find my phone number out there and you want to just call me directly, fine. Most of the time I've left numbers on there to my direct line. And if I don't pick up because I'm working with somebody, just leave a message. Only please call during business hours because Google Voice tracks me down outside of business hours. So I'm talking about don't call after 8 o'clock at night, please. You can call on weekends because, if I can't pick up, I won't pick up. You leave a message. So that's where we are. Winnerscheck.com buyer to get this whole video series, although you've probably learned that by now. And in the next few videos, I'm going to be sharing more information, bonus training, how to get it, and then how to work with me. Thanks, John McConnin. Talk to you later. Bye.